Okay, so let's take this animation to the next level. So first, let's add a background. So in this composition, owl flying, I'm going to press Command Y and choose sort of a light blue for the sky. And I'm going to rename it Sky, click OK, and put this beneath the owl, and then lock it because I'm not really going to do anything with it. Okay, next, let's actually add the blinking eyes. So we're going to go into our owl pre-composition, and I'm actually not going to do this with the puppet tool, but we're going to use some skills that we've learned in the past lessons to do so. So zoom in, pressing Z to get the zoom tool, clicking and using the space bar to get my hand tool to move it into the center so I can work with it properly. We're going to use the shape tool to cover up the eye. So take the ellipse tool. It doesn't really matter what color this is because we're going to use it as a track matte. But just click the brown right there to make sure it's the same color so we can cover the eye completely. Now I'm going to click in the center, and then holding Command and Shift down, I'm going to create that perfect circle that we all know how to create now. Until it's about the same size as the eye, pressing V to get my selection tool, and then putting it over the eye. That seems perfect. If I need to increase the size, I can go into scale, pressing up S, and bring up the scale just slightly. Cool. Now I'm going to call this right eye, or left eye actually. Actually, it's the owl's right eye, but to me, it's left eye. So this is going to be a track map for the blinking eyelids. So we have to create the eyelids. So let's take the rectangle tool. This time it is important that it is the brown. So use the color picker to choose the brown, or you can make it sort of like a slightly off brown. And then let me turn off the left eyelid. And then I'm going to just draw two rectangles. One, I'm going to draw, it's going to be the lower half of this eyeball. And then the next one I'm going to draw, it's going to be the top half. And you notice that I just clicked and dragged. I didn't create a new layer for each rectangle. There are two rectangles on this one shape layer. And that just makes it easier to work with. Left eyelids. Let's put the eyelids underneath the left eye. For the track matte option for the left eyelids, choose alpha matte left eye. If you don't see the track matte option, click the toggle switches modes button that's right down here. Now the left eyelids only show where this left eye is. So let's animate these eyelids up and down. So drop open the rectangle 1 and rectangle 2 options, go down into transform, and go about half a frame or half a second and set a keyframe for the position for each of these, for the transform rectangle 2 and then the transform rectangle 1. Then to make it a little cleaner, press U just so we have those two keyframes open. Now go back about 5 frames, so I'm just pressing Command left arrow on my keyboard about 5 frames. Then take each eyelid and move it up and down. So for the top one, I'm going to move up. For the bottom one, I'm going to move down. Now this closes like so. Then go 5 frames forward. Command 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's Control on a PC. And I'm going to copy this first keyframe that I had just created. So that's the up position. So now we have our basic blink. So let's easy ease these. So select them, press F9 on our keyboard, go into our graph editor, and for this one, we're just going to go into the middle keyframe, and let me zoom in on my timeline so I can get the handles, and take those handles from the middle one out, because it really kind of slows into that one. That looks pretty good. Okay, let's get out of our graph editor. And now what I'm going to do is just copy and paste these keyframes kind of sporadically. So I'm going to just go up here, paste them, go up here, do one that's kind of quicker. So again, right there, one right here, and maybe one at the end. Then maybe I will speed some of these up, these blinks, and kind of it's a funny owl. It's a cartoonish owl, so it'll look funny if some are faster, some are slower. So for this middle one, I'm just going to select all of these 3 keyframes, press Option on my keyboard, and then drag the last one in. That would be Alt for PC users. Same for these ones. I'm just going to make it a little bit faster, just like so. So now if we play through this, we have our eyelid kind of going in and out, opening and closing. I think motion blur will really help, so click that on for this layer, and then also enable it up here. Now to easily do this for the right eye, what we can do is just select both of these layers, duplicate them by pressing Command D. Let's rename them so we know what we're working with. Right eye, and then for this one, right eye lids. And now if I press P, what's cool is, we animated the position of the rectangle within the right eyelids, but we didn't animate the position of the actual layer itself. And that's what this position is that I just brought up. So now I can literally just move this to the side, and it actually probably helps if I go to the keyframe where the eye is closed on the timeline, drag to the right, and now you can see that I can position it exactly where I want it. What I thought looked kind of funny is staggering the eye blinks with the owl, just a couple frames. So I'm selecting both these layers and dragging to the right. So now the left eye closes before the right eye. So let me zoom out and let's see what this looks like. Awesome. So the reason why I did this in the pre-comp is it'd be a lot harder to do on this layer that's already having the animation with the puppet pins and the position. And you might be saying, well, Phil, you could have done it here in this sequence or this composition and then just parented the eyes and the eyelids to the owl layer. So even if you move it around, what happens to the owl layer happens to the eyelids. Well, that's true, but not for the puppet pin tool. So when you affect the puppet pin tool, it doesn't affect things that are parented to it. So that's why I do it in the pre-comp, so that now when I puppet pin the pre-comp, say that 10 times fast, everything within that pre-comp is affected. So hopefully that makes sense. So now if I add motion blur to the owl, let's see what this looks like. All right, bringing this up full screen with the tilde key. All right, I think this looks pretty darn cool. We're going to add some clouds in the next lesson to give some more perspective to this animation. But this is awesome. This is what you can do with free images that you find online. If you search for free icons or free graphics, there's lots of sites out there that give you free graphics like this. I didn't design this owl. This is something I found for free, a Creative Commons animation or graphic, and we're able to animate it like this, which looks pretty darn natural. So in the next lesson, I'm going to add those clouds, but hopefully you've been enjoying this. I think this was a very fun project. I've had fun, and I hope you're having fun learning.